use it. iPad has always been uniquely immersive. To amplify this, to put it on a much larger scale, we designed iPad Pro. It begins with a 12.9-inch Retina display on an iPad that remains remarkably thin and light. With 78% more screen area, iPad Pro not only transforms your viewing experience, it enables new ways of creating and sharing. To give multi-touch a greater level of precision, we completely re-engineered the touch subsystem, increasing the sensitivity of the sensors and doubling the touch refresh rate. It's actually the most advanced display we've made, and with 5.6 million pixels, it has the highest resolution of any iOS device. This is the first iPad to automatically adjust the number of times the display is refreshed, depending upon what's on the screen. This leads to greater energy efficiency and the all-day battery life you'd expect. Driving its high level of performance is the powerful A9X chip. It was specifically designed for iPad Pro and to meet the demands of a much larger display. Its size lets you do and see more, and its precise multi-touch technology allows for new forms of input while enhancing the capabilities of iOS 9. To produce a rich audio experience within this device's thin profile meant developing an entirely new four-speaker architecture. For the first time, the speaker housing is machined directly into the unibody enclosure and sealed with a carbon fiber cap. Its 4 speakers give iPad Pro a powerful acoustic output and dynamic range that far surpasses its size. With people using iPad in more and in different ways, we wanted to enhance its flexibility. To do this, we've developed a new technology. Its magnetic contacts relay both power and data bidirectionally, so you can easily connect compatible accessories without the need for Bluetooth or batteries. iPad Pro enables tools and interactions that just haven't been possible before. iPad continues to transform the way we do things. Our goal in designing iPad Pro was to engineer a device that allows you to be more productive, more creative, at an entirely new scale. The iPhone 5C is in many ways the distillation of what people love about the iPhone 5. It's simpler, more essential, yet it's more capable and certainly more colorful. We believe the iPhone is an experience that's defined by hardware and software working harmoniously together. We continue to refine that experience, dramatically blurring the boundaries between the two, making it more powerful, more intuitive, and ultimately more useful. iPhone 5C is beautifully, unapologetically plastic. Multiple parts have been reduced to a single polycarbonate component whose surface is continuous and seamless. I think that designs with a real coherence are the result of developing form, material, and color in unison, each element informing and in many ways defining the other, creating a significant and a meaningful design. Just as with its appearance, we took the same fanatical care with how the iPhone 5C feels in your hand. That sense of quality and integrity that's synonymous with the iPhone. That meant developing the design by creating a whole new structural architecture. It starts with a single piece of polycarbonate, into which we install a steel reinforced frame, creating a bespoke assembly that doubles as an antenna. We then add the rear plate. We then machine holes for the buttons, ensuring perfect alignment. And then the entire assembly goes through multiple finishing processes, including a clear lacquer hardcoat that creates a durable and incredibly glossy surface. This whole process culminates in an extraordinarily rigid structure and a solid, dense feel that you would not expect from a plastic product. From the beginning, we wanted to design cases as colorful and as well made as the iPhone itself. The soft, matte, microfiber-lined silicone is a very intentional contrast to the glossy, hardcoat finish of the iPhone. The result is a case that extends and complements the product while offering dozens of colorful combinations.
iPhone 5C is built on a foundation of features that people know and love. Like the beautiful 4-inch Retina display, blazing fast performance and console-level graphics from the A6 chip, the 8-megapixel iSight camera, and an impressive battery life. And now, we've added more LTE bands than any other smartphone in the world. And we've given it a new FaceTime HD camera for even better FaceTime calls and self-portraits. Beyond that, it comes with iOS 7, which includes new features like Control Center, AirDrop, and iTunes Radio. Combined with a ton of other great features, iOS 7 creates an experience that's even simpler, more useful, and more enjoyable. iOS 7 is designed to complement the iPhone 5C beautifully. The wallpapers are color-matched to the exterior, and the translucency inherent in iOS 7 carries this color through everything you do. This is just another great example of how we design and engineer our products in concert. It really is the only way that we believe provides the right experience.
I think it's quite remarkable when something feels familiar and yet it's new at the same time. That's the iPhone 5C. It's the vivid realization of hardware and software together in one device.
По-настоящему отличный продукт в конечном счете определяется степенью интеграции аппаратных и программных средств. Разработка iPhone с еще большим и современным экраном потребовала самых больших усилий над дизайном и проектированием со времен представления оригинального iPhone. Дисплеем 4,7 дюйма iPhone 6 стал выше и шире. Мы сделали корпус значительно тоньше, одновременно создав гладкую сплошную поверхность, комфортной при использовании и держании. Мы также представляем iPhone 6 Plus с еще большим 5,5-дюймовым дисплеем, с той же сплошной поверхностью и бесшовной сменой материалов, как и в iPhone 6, он очень тонкий. Создавая iPhone 6 и iOS 8 вместе, мы оптимизировали внешний вид для усиления программных особенностей. Защитное стекло выступает над поверхностью, чтобы без швов соединиться с алюминиевым юнибади корпусом. В результате программное и аппаратное обеспечение определяет по-настоящему единый опыт работы. Взаимодействие людей с iPhone всегда начиналось с дисплея. Поэтому мы не представляли большой экран до тех пор, пока мы не сделали его отличным. Дисплей Retina HD — это самый передовой iPhone дисплей из всех, что мы делали. На этом экране вы можете видеть более глубокий черный цвет и более четкий текст. С новыми двуобластными пикселями вы увидите более точные цвета под более широкими углами. Чтобы представить эти свойства, мы применили передовую технологию, называемую Photo Alignment. Выровненные пиксели позволяют получить превосходное ощущение от просмотра. Новый сверхсовременный разработанный Apple чип A8 продолжает нашу традицию по созданию мощных энергоэффективных чипов, представляя собой второе поколение 64-битной архитектуры уровня настольных решений. Новый чип меньше, он быстрее, обладает лучшей графикой и при этом более энергоэффективный. Так что вы можете работать дольше, без ущерба для производительности и времени работы. Мы добавили Motion сопроцессор M8. В режиме низкого энергопотребления он эффективно следит за вашей ежедневной активностью. А с добавлением барометра он может даже следить за высотой, на которой вы поднялись, например, по ступеням. iPhone является самой популярной камерой в мире. Поэтому мы чувствуем ответственность за продолжение улучшения опыта использования iPhone 6 при фото и видеосъемке. 8-мегапиксельная камера iSight имеет новый сенсор с Focus Pixels, который обеспечивает фокусировку лучше и быстрее. Новая настройка экспозиции в iOS 8 позволяет отрегулировать ее для улучшения цветов и деталей до того, как вы сделали снимок. iPhone 6 Plus обладает оптической стабилизацией изображения. Для компенсации движения вашей руки используется гироскоп. Затем программное обеспечение интеллектуально совместит кадры с короткой и длинной выдержкой для создания четкого изображения. Учитывая все большее число людей, снимающих видео на iPhone, мы добавили в iPhone 6 больше возможностей для видео. Новая камера снимает великолепное 1080p HD видео, 60 кадров в секунду. Постоянный автофокус обеспечивает непрерывную фокусировку, пока вы снимаете видео. Кинематографичная стабилизация видео помогает кадру оставаться устойчивым. И вы можете снимать удивительное супер slow motion видео на 240 кадрах в секунду. Новый режим таймлапс позволяет создавать отличные видео одним простым нажатием. С iPhone 6 вы можете снимать HD-видео, а потом смотреть свой потрясающий результат на дисплее Retina HD. С iPhone 6 мы представляем Apple Pay. Быструю, простую, защищенную систему мобильных платежей. Это гораздо лучше, чем носить с собой наличные и пластиковые карты. Вы расплачиваетесь, просто приложив палец к Touch ID. Вам не нужно открывать специальные приложения и даже разблокировать ваш iPhone. Вы также можете делать покупки одним прикосновением, без необходимости указывать данные своей карты или адрес доставки. С iPhone 6 все становится быстрее. Это включает сделанные нами значительные улучшения беспроводной производительности. Быстрый LTE делает возможным значительно более быстрые загрузки до 150 мегабит в секунду. Встроено 20 LTE диапазонов, значительно больше, чем в любом другом смартфоне. Поэтому вы можете использовать ее в еще большем количестве мест по всему миру. С iPhone 6 и iPhone 6 Plus мы не торопились заниматься глубокой разработкой, дизайном и проектированием двух совершенно новых iPhone. Изменения гораздо более значительные, чем просто больше и лучше экраны. Дизайн еще никогда не был таким неотразимым. И без сомнения, делает это самым большим продвижением iPhone со времен представления оригинального iPhone.
The iPhone 6s and the iPhone 6s Plus, which are definitely solid upgrades to last year's models, if they're more evolutionary than revolutionary. With that said, knowing Apple, these phones will probably sell amazingly well within the first couple of weeks, so in this video I'm just going to be taking a quick look at what's new. So as you probably already know, this year is Apple's off-S year, which basically means that they keep the design of the device the same, but add other features to attract buyers, like Apple did with the Touch ID fingerprint sensor in the iPhone 5s, or Siri in the iPhone 4s. The big new feature for this year's iPhones was expected to be the Force Touch technology used in the Apple Watch, which is a pressure-sensitive display that responds to various types of touches. Apple instead unveiled 3D Touch, which is a feature that appears to have the same capabilities. For instance, it'll allow users to peek in an email by pressing down on the subject head, or view a photo by pressing down on a photo. In another notable change, Siri can also be activated via voice for the first time using the command Hey Siri, which will allow users to ask the digital assistant to play music or make a phone call, even while they're washing dishes or preparing a meal. This new feature will definitely help the iPhone 6s catch up to other voice-activated devices like the Amazon Echo speaker and the many Android phones like the Moto X, which turn on when you say a specific voice command. The new phones will also include Apple's new A9 chip, which Apple is claiming is up to 70% faster at computing tasks than the A8 chip in the iPhone 6 and iPhone 6 Plus. I can't see this affecting the day-to-day usage that much, but maybe for gaming in particular, that would be the one area where you actually will be able to notice an improvement from the iPhone 6 to the iPhone 6s. Now, both of Apple's new phones also come with a new 12-megapixel iSight back-facing camera, which is a boost from the 8-megapixel camera in last year's phones. The 6S and 6S Plus have a stronger glass cover, and their bodies are also made of a new aluminum alloy that's available in 4 finishes: silver, gold, space gray, and then a new rose gold. Additionally, the new phones will come with faster LTE and Wi-Fi wireless connections, a faster Touch ID sensor, and then also the ability to shoot high-resolution 4K videos. The phone screen now acts as a flash for selfie cameras, and then also a new live photos feature will capture the moments just before and after a picture is taken, so a user can watch a short video version of any photo by pressing down on the picture. But anyways, that's pretty much all the changes in Apple's latest phones. The new 4.7-inch 6S and 5.5-inch 6S Plus are the same size as last year's models, and pre-orders for these devices start this Saturday. Following Apple's typical pricing system, the base model iPhone 6S will cost $649 without a 2-year contract, but obviously if you do get this phone on a carrier, it should cost a lot less. So with that said, give me your opinions about the iPhone 6s and 6s Plus in the comments below. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it and you are excited for Apple's latest iPhones, and I will see you next time.
What's up guys, Mike here, the Detroit Borg, taking a look at the new silicone cases for the iPhone 6s and 6s Plus. Now the silicone cases also join a series of leather cases which we'll take a look at in a separate video. So they retail for $35 for the 6s and $39 for the 6s Plus. Although these are designed specifically to work with the thicker iPhone 6s and 6s Plus, they will work with the existing iPhone 6 and 6 Plus just fine. Now we have 11 colors to pick from this time, and we're going to take a look at all of them in this video. So getting to our packaging, very simple here for the silicone cases, a nice clear shell that allows us to check out the colors before we buy it. And flipping them over on the back, you'll find this little tab indicated in the upper right corner. So this is where you peel off the back panel to slip out your case. So inside the packaging, you'll find very simple instructions that tells you to install the phone top side first, and then you snap in the corners at the bottom. So lining all these cases up, I think the color that jumps out right away is the white one because of that distinctive black Apple logo. The rest of the silicone cases have a color matched Apple logo, which is just slightly darker in tint than the rest of the case, which is a little more subtle. So once again, each case is lined with a microfiber material, which is color matched to the exterior shell. Now that microfiber material provides a nice cushion for the phone. It also does a nice job stabilizing any grit or sand that might get between your case and the phone to prevent it from scratching the phone over time. So with all the cases lined up, we can take a look at all the colors side by side. So we have our volume controls along the left side, along with a cutout for our mute switch. You won't find anything on the top, but along the right side, we'll find our sleep wake switch, which is also covered. So to install our phone here, it's very simple. Just slide in the top first and snap it in at the bottom, and you're good to go. So with the phone installed, the case wraps around the curved edges of the phone, so it's nice and secure. It also provides a lot of edge protection, so it prevents the glass of the display from making contact with the table if you lay it flat. Now toward the bottom, we have this wide opening for our speaker, lightning connector, headphone jack, and microphone. It also leaves our fingerprint sensor free from interference. Now, although this area seems vulnerable and wide open, there is a lot of material along the corners and along the back, which should prevent it from making contact if dropped or if you're laying it flat on a table. Along the left side, we have our raised volume controls, which remain very tactile through the casing, and we have plenty of room to operate the mute switch. And along the right side, we'll find our raised sleep-wake power button, which remains very tactile through this case. On the back, we'll find a cutout for our camera, LED flash, and microphone, and it is lined in black plastic, which reduces glare from the LED flash. This will also help to protect the camera from damage since it sits below the thickness of the case. Taking a close look at each individual color, of course, we have white with that very distinctive black Apple logo. Of course, this color should work with just about any of the iPhone colors. We have some other more subtle or lighter colors, which includes stone, which is kind of a beige or taupe color, but is fairly neutral and should work with any color. We have antique white, which kind of has a gold undertone, which should work really well with the gold iPhone. Turquoise is kind of a soft blue-green color, which would work best, I think, with something like the silver iPhone. Lavender, again, another subtle color which would work very well with the rose gold or even gold iPhone. Pink is a very soft pink color, so it's not as vibrant as it was last year, and again should work with a lot of colors like silver, gold, or rose gold. We also have some more vivid colors, which I think would work very well with the space gray phone, such as blue, which is kind of a cyan blue. We also get orange, which is a nice vivid color, which really stands out here and is somewhat similar to Product Red. Product Red is now only available on the silicone cases. It's no longer available as a leather case, and it's a little brighter than the leather color from last year. We also have Midnight Blue, which is one of my favorite colors and probably the color I would choose for my space gray iPhone. And then we have Charcoal Gray, which works with just about everything and is probably the best bet for anybody who is undecided on which color to get. Now, compared to the silicone cases from last year, the color options are much more subtle and more varied. We go from 6 options to 11 options, and we no longer have these bright, vivid colors which sort of match the iPhone 5C, which was just discontinued. So now they've sort of moved on to these more subtle options, which I think are a lot more appealing. So in the end, I really like the silicone cases this year. We finally have a nice selection of colors to pick from, and overall the case is designed to perfectly fit the phone and provide the right level of protection without completely bulking up the phone or interfering with its operation. So what do you guys think? Which color would you pick for your new iPhone? So that's going to do it for me in this video. I will be covering the leather cases in a separate video, so stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again in the next one.
With iPhone and multi-touch, we introduced a whole new way to interact with technology. Tapping, swiping, and pinching have forever changed the way we navigate and experience our digital world. Until now, these gestures have been defined by a singular plane in two-dimensional space. For iPhone 6S and 6S Plus, we're introducing an entirely new interaction and a whole new dimension to the way you experience your iPhone. It's made possible by a technology called 3D Touch. This is the next generation of multi-touch. For the first time, along with recognizing familiar gestures, iPhone also recognizes force, enabling new gestures, peek and pop. "3D Touch" works on the home screen, giving you shortcuts to the things you do frequently. It also works inside applications themselves. Press lightly, and it gives you a peek at the content. Continue pressing, and it pops you into the content itself. Sensors embedded in the display read how hard you're pressing and react in a smooth, linear way. This is a dynamic system, deeply integrated into iOS 9. You can dip in and out of where you are without losing a sense of your context. It provides distinct, tactile feedback for your actions, letting you know exactly what you've done and what to expect. While the way that you use 3D Touch is simple, the engineering behind it is some of our most advanced. At its heart are capacitive sensors integrated into the backlight of the Retina HD display. With each press, these sensors measure microscopic changes in the distance between the cover glass and the backlight. These measurements are then combined with signals from the touch sensor and accelerometer to provide fast, accurate, and continuous response to finger pressure. For a truly communicative experience, we had to develop a more precise level of haptic feedback. While the vibrating system on a typical phone requires 10 or more oscillations to reach full power, the Taptic engine in iPhone 6s reaches peak output in just one cycle and stops just as quickly. This allows us to create shorter, more distinct feedback events, like a mini tap lasting just 10 milliseconds and a full tap which lasts 15 milliseconds. Perhaps more than any other system we've designed, 3D Touch is a clear example of how hardware and software developed together can work to define a singular experience. This is the next generation of multi-touch. It makes this iPhone the most advanced iPhone we have ever created. Every single component, every process has been considered and measured to make sure that it's truly useful and that it actually enhances the user's experience. It is meticulously designed, engineered, and crafted.
Not much has changed, except it responds to the pressure of your finger. So you can peek into stuff. And pop stuff open, which changes how you play a song. Read a text. Read an email. Read the news. Wait, you read the news?
Yep.
Of course you do. Now you can change apps like this, pay at more places like this, and the new color looks like this. It's rose gold, it's awesome. And Siri is more helpful than ever.
Hey Siri, show me photos of tortellini.
Here are some images of tortellini.
Maybe get takeout? The camera shoots 4K video now, which changes how your movies look. Nice. Even selfies have changed. Now your screen is the flash. That's gonna get like 1 million likes.
Thanks.
Actually, photos themselves have changed. They move now. You just touch them. So yeah, that's what's changed.
Hey, what is up guys, I'm KBHD here, and today at the Apple event I got to see the new iPhones, the iPhone 6s and the iPhone 6s Plus. They're both coming out in late September for the same price as the current iPhones were when they launched, so of course I took a good hard look. Now as expected, the design of the 6s is pretty much the same as the 6. In fact, the only way you'll be able to tell you have the 6s is by that little S badge on the back. Of course, also if you have the new rose gold color, which to my eye is really more of like a pale pink. But yeah, other than that, from top to bottom, all the way around the outside of this phone, it's the same phone. Although the new 6S Plus is actually a little bit heavier in the hand than the current 6 Plus, and I think we can thank Bendgate for that, since Apple is now using a 7000 series aluminum alloy to strengthen the body, but it's only a couple extra grams. So there are 3 main improvements to know about in the new iPhone: new specs, new cameras, and new display. So the spec bump is in the processing really. So the 6S is rocking a new Apple A9 chip, which is supposedly nearly twice as fast in the CPU and GPU performance. But that's really the only spec difference that they told us about. As far as I know, it's still 1GB of RAM, still the same non-removable battery, and still starting at 16 gigs of non-expandable storage. So everything else stayed the same, it's just adding the new A9. And the camera in the iPhone is really a bump that got me interested in it a lot. So before, the iPhone had an 8 megapixel camera, as we all know. This new iPhone is rocking a 12 megapixel sensor, which is awesome for a couple reasons. One, that means the photos will be even crispier, and if the demo photos from the events are any indication, we may have a new #1 best smartphone camera. And number two, 12 megapixels now means we have a large enough sensor or enough pixels for 4K video. So this smartphone is now capable of hanging with the heavy hitters like the Galaxy S6 and Note 5 and LG G4 and everything, pretty much every other smartphone that's come out this year that shoots 4K video. Plus the 6S also has optical image stabilization that now works during video as well. So I'm really looking forward to testing this camera a lot more. And as a bonus, the front-facing camera also got a nice little bump up to 5 megapixels, and it now uses the display as a dual-tone flash, according to the ambient light. Smart. And with these new iPhones, you can now turn on something called Live Photo, which will capture 1.5 seconds before and after you snap the photo, which is pretty neat. And you can view the live photo by pressing down on the photo in the gallery, which brings us to our third and final major change, and that's 3D touch. Not Force Touch, 3D touch. But basically the same thing as Force Touch. So now the iPhone 6S display is pressure sensitive and to multiple levels. So you can press down a little harder on the display to bring up a context menu in tons of places all over the OS. It's kind of like an expand button or a more info button. So you can 3D touch an icon on the home screen to bring up some quick actions for that app, or you can press an address in a thread to preview the location in Apple Maps. Or you can press a thread in a messaging app itself to preview what's in that thread. And with all these previews, if you like what you see, then you can press even harder to fully expand and bring yourself into it. Or if you don't want to, then you can release the Force Touch and then it shrinks itself back. So it seems like this can be useful at a level on a smartphone. It'll probably take some getting used to. The thing is, I was just playing it for a few minutes and I started to get the hang of it. And the Taptic engine in the phone is also larger and a bit heavier and is now much more precise, so it feels more like the Force Touch on the Apple Watch, which is impressive. And it's fast. I mean, obviously the whole phone will be fast with that new A9 chip and moving around the interface, combined with swipes and gestures I already know. Combining that with the 3D touch just made it feel nice and fast. I don't know, the quick tip is with the home screen icons, you can press and then swipe over onto the action you want to perform, which was really quick. And multitasking with the 3D touch swipe in from the left side is also pretty quick now too, so definitely a little bit of a learning curve to get everything down and figure out where you want to use 3D touch, but it's promising. Also, third-party apps can and definitely will take advantage of this 3D touch too. So there was a couple things demoed. There was a game that can literally change weapons if you press the display harder. There was also apps like Facebook and Instagram that are already coded and updated to take advantage of 3D touch on the iPhone 6S. So there you have it. It's the new iPhone. The TLDR is it's faster, crispier, and a little more sensitive. So faster chip, faster Touch ID, faster UI, crispier for the cameras on the front and the back, and that 3D touch pressure sensitive display. It's not all super new stuff. I mean, lots of it has been seen in other smartphones before, but when going from iPhone 6 to iPhone 6S, this is about what I expected. Anyway, the full review will come when I get to use this guy as my daily driver, so let me know with a comment what you guys want to see tested right below that like button, and I'll get to hear your thoughts. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.
It's bigger on the inside. iPhone SE packs almost all the power and features of the iPhone 6S into a package as small as and even more affordable than the iPhone 5S it replaces. It's something a passionate group of 4-inch iPhone fans have been waiting not so patiently for since Apple made the flagships big and bigger in 2014. So, is the iPhone SE everything they've been waiting for? I used a 4-inch iPhone from when Apple introduced iPhone 5 in 2012 until the company introduced iPhone 6 Plus in 2014. Since then, I've always kept one handy for testing, and I switched back to it for a week or so earlier this month so I could reacquaint myself with it in anticipation of the SE. In other words, I'm familiar with how the size and shape feels, and how the internet and apps look at the smaller scale. Little of that changes here. The chamfered edges are matte rather than polished. The 6000 series aluminum has a stainless steel Apple logo inset, iPhone 6S style on the back, and there's subtle SE branding beneath it. There's also a new rose gold finish to go along with the silver, space gray, and gold. That's about it. For some, the harder edges might come off as anachronistic in the age of curvier, more uniform iPhones. For others, this design is iconic in the tradition of Leica and Braun. Either way, iPhone SE is as easy to hold and use one-handed as ever. It simply slots right into my palm, even as my thumb easily arcs from corner to corner. Everything's a compromise though. With iPhone SE, what you gain in on-the-go usability, you do lose in display real estate. At 4 inches, you can't fit and see anywhere nearly as much content on an SE as you can on the 1334 by 750 iPhone 6s or the enormous by comparison 1920 by 1080 iPhone 6s Plus. You don't get as much interface, you don't get as much text, and you obviously don't get the Plus's 2-column view and landscape. What you do get is a phone you don't have to juggle or resort to reachability mode to use. That's especially useful for when you're walking around, carrying things, or simply hurrying about your day. You also don't get 3D touch. That's the pressure-sensitive technology found on Apple's iPhone 6s. It's a disappointing omission, even though iPhone SE is technically a special edition iPhone 5s rather than a shrunken iPhone 6s. It won't matter to some, but to others it'll be a deal breaker, or at least make it a tougher decision for those who really want both. iPhone SE is powered by Apple's custom A9 system on a chip. All that silicon behind so few pixels results in what can only be likened to an F1 race car experience, or maybe a Superleggera or a 911R. I digress. Thanks to the integrated M9 coprocessor, you also get the same low-power motion sensing as you do on the iPhone 6s, as well as Hey Siri, even when unplugged. That makes it super convenient to control your iPhone SE simply with the power of your voice. Storage starts at 16 gigabytes, which will no doubt have tech reviewers rolling their collective eyeballs so hard. For mainstream customers though, the 64 gigabyte model should be the go-to. Apple claims 14 hours of talk time along with 13 hours of internet and video playback, 50 hours of audio, and 10 days of standby. It's really hard to test that early on since a fresh install isn't what most people use, and restoring from backup causes a bunch of radio and processor overhead. I'll be keeping an eye on it though, and will update with my findings, including whether or not I can keep up with sustained Facebook drain. The other big improvements in this small package is the camera system. iPhone 5s had a cutting-edge camera for its time, but times have changed. We now live in the era of iPhone 6s style deep trench isolation and focus pixels. iPhone SE's updated 12-megapixel iSight camera offers both. There's also 1080p video at 60 frames per second and 4K at 30 frames per second, making iPhone SE a first-class movie shooting experience. The FaceTime camera is the same sensor as the iPhone 5s, but does benefit from the new image signal processor and from Retina Flash. I'm not sure why it didn't get a bump to an iPhone 6s level 5 megapixels, because selfies really are a thing and really do need a better camera. Live photos are also here though. They combine an image with a video, so your memories have motion and sound attached. Since there's no 3D touch, you trigger live photos with a long press rather than a deep press. Touch ID, Apple's fingerprint identity sensor, is still first generation, but there's an NFC radio now, which means Apple Pay in any country and at any retailer that supports it. Enhancing iPhone SE hardware is iOS 9.3. In addition to everything released last fall, there are new features like Night Shift, the ability to lock notes, greater personalization for Apple News, recommended apps in health, and CarPlay now has Apple Music's new and For You sections, as well as Nearby for maps. iPhone SE is available for $399 for 16 gigabytes and $499 for 64 gigabytes. With new payment options, that can be less than a few fancy cups of coffee a month, at least in the US. I'll be ordering the 64 gigabyte rose gold. I don't think I'll be staying at this size for anything more than a few weeks, but I'm thrilled that this is pretty much the not-so-secret love child of the 6S and 5S. I suspect for many of you, Apple had you at A9, 12 megapixels, 4K, Apple Pay, and a 4-inch iPhone. If even 10 to 20% of iPhone owners have been waiting on a smaller iPhone to upgrade, that's tens of millions of now very happy customers. For Android owners who've developed a distaste for tablet-sized phones and found themselves bereft of great, small choices from the not-Apples of the world, iPhone SE is likely to be a breath of fresh air as well. Even first-time buyers turned off by the idea of a giant phone in their pockets or purses will likely find iPhone SE's more candy bar stylings more to their liking. If any of these scenarios describe you, if you want most of the latest technology and the best experience possible in as small and inexpensive an iPhone as possible, then you want the iPhone SE.
From the very beginning, the iPad was designed to be very powerful, very capable, but also remarkably simple to use. So our goal was to take all the amazing things that you can do with a full-size iPad, but pack them into a product that is so much smaller. And that's what we did with the new iPad mini.
One of the things that makes iPads so incredible is that there's almost no end to what you can do with it. So when we decided to make the iPad mini, we wanted to make sure it had all the features that make iPad so magical. We began with a display that has the same resolution as the iPad 2, so all your apps and content look and work the same way. And at 7.9 inches, it's small enough to fit in one hand, but it's still large enough to give you that rich, immersive iPad experience. It has a dual-core A5 chip for fast, fluid performance, both FaceTime and iSight cameras. It gets a full 10 hours of battery life, and it runs more than 275,000 apps made just for iPad. These aren't scaled-up phone apps. These are powerful apps that take full advantage of iPad mini's beautiful display. You can access all your favorite music, movies, and TV shows from the iTunes Store. 1.5 million books on the iBook Store, and over 5,000 magazines and newspapers on Newsstand. And another thing we're really excited about is that iPad mini comes with FaceTime HD. Seeing your friends and family in high definition makes you feel like you're that much closer.
If all that we had done was take the original iPad and just reduce it, all that you would be aware of was everything that was just missing. That there is inherent loss in just reducing a product in size. And what we did was we went back to the very beginning and we took the time to design a product that was a concentration of, not a reduction of the original. We felt strongly that 7.9 inches was exactly the right display size, but it became clear that we had to reduce the width of the borders so you can still pick it up and easily use it with one hand. We have continued to develop our unibody process. There are essentially two parts to the enclosure, the glass and the aluminium. And that junction where the two parts actually come together is incredibly important. The diamond cut chamfer meets seamlessly with the glass. And I think it's a beautiful detail that further reduces parts and actually makes it more durable. We also designed an entirely new smart cover for the iPad mini. By eliminating the separate aluminium hinge, we now essentially wrap the iPad mini in a single, simple colored material.
The biggest challenge that we faced was incorporating all of these great features in a much smaller and lighter device. In order to do this, every part had to be custom designed, starting with the display. The glass on the front and back are only 0.2 millimeters thin. The touch subsystem is a mere 0.12 millimeters thin. It weighs half as much as any we've ever done before. Beyond the screen, we took some dramatic steps to maximize interior space. It has the largest and thinnest single-cell battery we've ever designed. We designed a smaller motherboard to house the powerful A5 chip and built in the new, smaller Lightning connector. We also redesigned the iSight and FaceTime HD cameras, and they allow you to take amazing photos in HD video. We've been able to build all of this technology into a device that is only 0.68 pounds and 7.2 millimeters thin.
All of these efforts combine to make a product that is incredibly thin and light and has absolutely remarkable levels of fit and finish. And I think the result is an extraordinary iPad, one that will be used in so many different places, in so many different ways.
Today, we're not just launching our new phone. We're launching a new way of thinking about what a phone can do. A phone that makes you rethink the phone. Introducing Samsung Galaxy S7 and S7 Edge. We spend more time with our phones than ever, and yet they're not designed to be held comfortably. But now, with the elegant back curve of the S7 and the streamlined front and back of the S7 Edge, both nestle perfectly into the palm of your hand. They feel smaller and thinner with smoother edges and sleeker lines, but the screen size is still the way you like it. Big and immersive. A true marvel of engineering. It's as beautiful to look at as it is to use. We've also redesigned the S7 with memory that expands, because we know you love file-hungry movies, music, and games. Here's the Vulkan API for the most realistic mobile gaming possible. 4 gigabytes of RAM to keep all your tabs open. And a longer-lasting battery to keep you going all day and beyond. Our phones go everywhere with us, except in water. Well, until now. Even in the rain, the shower, or the pool, open up a new world to use it in. The S7 has a phone camera that uses the technology found in professional cameras. 100% of the pixels are used to focus, and every single one works just like our 2 eyes, which means you have autofocus in a split second. And you can shoot in the dark and own the night, because some of our most precious memories happen in the dark. Not only can you leave your camera at home, leave your wallet too. Samsung Pay is safe, simple, and accepted virtually anywhere you can swipe or tap your card. So travel light, and with Knox Security, worry-free. The new S7 redefines how you can use a phone. But what really breaks the boundaries of what a phone can do is a completely new way to share memories. Now you can record your life with the 360 camera, preview it on your phone, and then simply load it into your VR headset. Imagine, this simple 5-inch phone is now your personal 360 cinema screen. You define the possibilities, and we'll redefine the phone. Samsung Galaxy S7 and S7 Edge. Rethink what a phone can do.
iPhone 5S is our most refined iPhone to date. It is meticulously designed, engineered, and crafted. But it's the remarkable innovation inside the iPhone 5S that sets a new precedent. It's not just rampant technology for technology's sake. Every single component, every process has been considered and measured to make sure that it's truly useful and that it actually enhances the user's experience. This care, this consideration extends to how we protect all of the important information that you actually carry with you on your iPhone. It's what led us to create Touch ID.
Your fingerprint is one of the best passwords in the world. It's always with you, and no two are exactly alike. So it made perfect sense to create a simple, seamless way to use it as a password. With just a touch of your home button, the Touch ID sensor quickly reads your fingerprint and automatically unlocks your phone. You can even use it to authorize purchases through our stores. Setting up Touch ID to recognize your fingerprint is easy, and every time you use it, it gets better at reading your print. It can read multiple fingerprints and read them in any orientation. The technology within Touch ID is some of the most advanced hardware and software we put in any device. The button itself is made from sapphire crystal, one of the clearest, hardest materials available. This protects the sensor and acts as a lens to precisely focus it on your finger. The steel ring surrounding the button detects your finger and tells Touch ID to start reading your print. The sensor uses advanced capacitive touch to take, in essence, a high-resolution image of your fingerprint from the subepidermal layers of your skin. It then intelligently analyzes this information with a remarkable degree of detail and precision. It categorizes your print by one of 3 basic types: arch, loop, or whorl. It maps individual details in the ridges that are smaller than the human eye can see, and even inspects minor variations in ridge direction caused by pores and edge structures. Touch ID uses all this to provide the most accurate match and a very high level of security. All fingerprint information is encrypted and stored inside the secure enclave in our new A7 chip. Here, it is locked away from everything else, accessible only by the Touch ID sensor. It's never available to other software, and it's never stored on Apple servers or backed up to iCloud.
Touch ID defines the next step of how you use your iPhone, making something as important as security so effortless and so simple. We believe that technology is at its very best, at its most empowering, when it simply disappears.
One of the things people love most about their iPhone is they can take great photos with it. iPhone 5S lets you do even more with photos and video. It makes the world's most popular camera even better. Any digital camera is only as good as its sensor. While more pixels produce a bigger picture, we prefer bigger pixels because they mean an even better picture. With iPhone 5S, we started with a wider f2.2 aperture. That, combined with our new state-of-the-art 8-megapixel backside illuminated CMOS sensor that is 15% larger than before, means each 1.5 micron pixel can convert 33% more light into image data. This is all processed by the new A7 chip with 64-bit desktop-class architecture. That's a lot of numbers that basically mean the pictures you take will have greater dynamic range, with more details in the highlights and shadows, and less overall noise in the image.
A really great sensor is only the beginning of how iPhone 5S takes really amazing photos and video. In low light, iPhone 5S uses the new auto image stabilization. When you press the shutter, it imperceptibly takes up to 4 very quick photos, intelligently merging them to reduce blurring from camera shake and subject motion. And in really low light, it uses the all-new True Tone flash. iPhone 5S measures the color temperature of the available light, then fires the white and amber flashes together in just the right ratio to create a balanced image. The colors in your photos will look truer and your skin tones more natural. iPhone 5S also has some fun new camera features, like photo burst mode. It continually captures at 10 images a second when you hold down the shutter. Advanced algorithms help select the individual photos or sequence of photos you might like best. And the new slow motion feature lets you shoot HD video at 120 frames per second. You can then select a specific section you want played back at quarter speed. All these features are the result of hardware and software working together so seamlessly that they essentially become invisible. So all you have to do is concentrate on taking a great photo or video and let iPhone do the rest.
iPhone
5S — это самый совершенный iPhone на сегодня. Он тщательно спроектирован, разработан и собран. Но выдающиеся инновации внутри iPhone 5S устанавливают новый уровень. Это не просто набор технологий ради самого набора технологий. Абсолютно каждый компонент, каждый процесс был рассмотрен и обдуман, чтобы убедиться в его полезности и в том, что он действительно улучшает ощущение пользователя. Такая забота и внимание распространяется на то, как мы защищаем всю важную информацию, которую вы на самом деле носите с собой на iPhone. Это привело нас к созданию Touch ID. Ваш отпечаток пальца — это один из лучших паролей в мире. Он всегда с вами, и нет двух одинаковых. Поэтому имело смысл создать простой и понятный способ использовать его как пароль. Просто коснувшись кнопки Home, Touch ID сенсор быстро считывает отпечаток пальца и разблокирует телефон. Вы даже можете использовать его для подтверждения покупок в наших магазинах для музыки, фильмов, ТВ-шоу, приложений и книг. Настройка Touch ID на узнавание ваших отпечатков очень простая, и с каждым использованием распознавание улучшается. Он может сканировать несколько отпечатков и в любой ориентации. Технология внутри Touch ID является комбинацией самых продвинутых железа и софта, устанавливаемых нами на любые устройства. Сама кнопка сделана из сапфирового стекла, одного из прочнейших и прозрачнейших доступных материалов. Оно защищает сенсор и действует как линза для точной фокусировки на вашем пальце. Стальное кольцо, окружающее кнопку, реагирует на прикосновение и сообщает Touch ID начать сканирование. Сенсор использует прикосновение для по существу высокочеткого снимка вашего отпечатка на субэпитальном слое вашей кожи. Потом он тщательно анализирует полученную информацию с выдающимся уровнем детализации и точности. Он классифицирует отпечаток по одному из трех базовых типов — дуга, петля и завиток. Он запоминает отдельные детали и участки, которые настолько малы, что не видны глазу. Он даже изучает незначительные изменения в направлениях, вызванные травмами и порезами. Touch ID использует все это для обеспечения самого точного распознавания и очень высокого уровня безопасности. Вся информация об отпечатках зашифрована и хранится в защищенном разделе на нашем новом чипе A7. Там она закрыта от всего. Доступом обладает только сенсор Touch ID. Она никогда не используется другими приложениями, никогда не будет храниться на серверах Apple или скопирована в iCloud. Touch ID определяет следующий шаг в том, как вы используете свой iPhone. Делая такую важную вещь, как безопасность, такой естественной и простой. Мы убеждены, что технология находится в лучшем виде, с максимально расширенными возможностями, когда она просто исчезает. Одна из вещей, которые люди любят больше всего в своих iPhone, это делать отличные фото. iPhone 5s позволяет вам делать даже больше со своими фото и видео, и делает самую популярную в мире камеру еще лучше. Любая цифровая камера хороша настолько, насколько хорош ее сенсор. Когда больше пикселей создают большую картинку, мы предпочитаем большие пиксели, потому что они означают лучшую картинку. В iPhone 5s мы начали с широкой диафрагмой 2.2. Это совместно с нашим новым современным 8-мегапиксельным CMOS-сенсором с столовой подсветкой, который на 15% больше старого, означает, что каждый из 1,5 мегапикселя может конвертировать на 33% больше света в данное изображение. Все это обрабатывается новым чипом A7, 64-битной архитектурой, как у настольного компьютера. Это много цифр. По существу это означает, что у ваших фотографий будет больше динамический диапазон, больше деталей в светлых местах и тенях, и меньше общего шума на изображении. Действительно классный сенсор — это только начало того, как iPhone 5s снимает изумительные фото и видео. При недостаточном освещении iPhone 5s использует новую автоматическую стабилизацию изображения. Когда вы нажимаете на затвор, он незаметно и очень быстро делает до 4 фото, интеллектуально объединяя их, чтобы убрать нечеткость от дергания камеры и движения объекта. А при очень плохом освещении он использует новую вспышку True Tone. iPhone 5s измеряет цветовую температуру доступного света, затем сверкает белой и янтарной вспышками вместе в идеальном соотношении для создания сбалансированной картинки. Цвета на ваших фото выглядят честнее, и оттенок кожи натуральнее. В iPhone 5s также есть несколько веселых режимов камеры, например, режим Photo Burst. Он безостановочно делает 10 кадров в секунду, пока вы держите затвор. Продвинутый алгоритм помогает выбрать отдельные фото или серии фото, которые вам понравятся больше всего. А новая функция Slow Motion позволяет вам снимать HD-видео со 120 кадрами в секунду. После вы можете выбрать специальный отрезок, который будет проигрываться на четверти скорости. Все эти функции — результат работы железа и столько настолько цельно, что они по сути становятся невидимыми. Все, что вам нужно делать, это сосредоточиться на классных фото и видео и позволить iPhone сделать остальное.
Bring the action.
Everybody in the club, all eyes on us, all eyes on us. All eyes on us. I wanna scream and shout and let it all out. And scream and shout and let it out. We say no, we are.
You are now rocking with Will I Am in
Britney, bitch.
One of the things people love most about their iPhone is they can take great photos with it. iPhone 5s lets you do even more with photos and video. It makes the world's most popular camera even better. Any digital camera is only as good as its sensor. While more pixels produce a bigger picture, we prefer bigger pixels because they mean an even better picture. With iPhone 5s, we started with a wider f2.2 aperture. That, combined with our new state-of-the-art 8-megapixel backside illuminated CMOS sensor that is 15% larger than before, means each 1.5 micron pixel can convert 33% more light into image data. This is all processed by the new A7 chip with 64-bit desktop-class architecture. That's a lot of numbers that basically mean The pictures you take will have greater dynamic range, with more details in the highlights and shadows, and less overall noise in the image.
A really great sensor is only the beginning of how iPhone 5S takes really amazing photos and video. In low light, iPhone 5S uses the new auto image stabilization. When you press the shutter, it imperceptibly takes up to 4 very quick photos, intelligently merging them to reduce blurring from camera shake and subject motion. And in really low light, it uses the all-new True Tone Flash. iPhone 5S measures the color temperature of the available light, then fires the white and amber flashes together in just the right ratio to create a balanced image. The colors in your photos will look truer and your skin tones more natural. iPhone 5S also has some fun new camera features, like photo burst mode. It continually captures at 10 images a second when you hold down the shutter. Advanced algorithms help select the individual photos or sequence of photos you might like best. And the new slow motion feature lets you shoot HD video at 120 frames per second. You can then select the specific section you want played back at quarter speed. All these features are the result of hardware and software working together so seamlessly that they essentially become invisible. So all you have to do is concentrate on taking a great photo or video and let iPhone do the rest.
Can you feel it? The power, all in your hand. Trust the power. Camera launch in record time, always ready. Next generation design, from inside out. Curved glass, seamless metal. Expanding new mobile experiences. Predicting the movement. Autofocus. Sharp. Precise. Xperia X Performance. The masterpiece from Sony.